Welcome to r/EntitledPeople, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. A coworker confronts the titled father's demands and kicks him out of the store. The second story. Bartender stands up against entitled customer. Confrontation escalates and ends with a ban. The third story. Office rebellion. Employee quits job over a sandwich showdown with manager. The fourth story. Karma hit my boss and GM right back. The first story is, I was called a racist. A little background. I've been working in this establishment as a bartender for the past 7 years. The man I'm about to speak about has been in several times, of which I have taken care of him once. He was the typical I know the owner, I want X, Y, and Z for free, came in with a different woman every night type of guy. The time I did take care of him, he was beyond rude, perverted, and entitled. From there on out, whenever I would see him come in and it was my turn, I would ask someone else to take him, mainly because he made me feel uncomfortable. And I also know myself, and if it got to a bad point, I would not control my tongue. Keep in mind this was all hush-hush, and I would discuss this in the back where he had no way of knowing my feelings toward him. Fast forward to the other night. I'm closing down bar and the phone rings and it's about 9:22 p.m. On this particular night, we closed at 9:30. I answer, "Thank you for calling blank, how may I help you?" To which he replies, "I want to place a pickup order for 9 wings." I say, "Sir, our orders of wings come in 5, 10, or 20. He proceeds to say, "Well, I only want 9 wings. Can I order a 10-piece and you just discount me for the 1 wing?" Definitely rolling my eyes so hard they fall in the back of my head, I say, "No, I'm sorry, but we're unable to do that." He then huffs and puffs and says to just put in the order for 10 wings, and he would come get them. Okay, cool, whatever. I put the order in and go about my cleaning. 10 p.m. rolls around and I'm completely done with cleaning, literally just waiting to put up my bar chairs and for him to come pick up his order. I hear the door chime and I look up and lo and behold, it's Mr. Entitled himself, which I had no idea when I was speaking to him on the phone. I just thought it was another clueless D who didn't understand how a restaurant worked. He literally takes 2 steps in the restaurant and starts screaming. Evidently, he took me looking at him, then walking back to the kitchen to get his order meant that I was talking SH about him. He proceeds to go on and on about how I was talking SH. I told him, "Sir, I'm sorry you feel that way, but no one said a word about you." Then he kept going on calling me these names, and that's when I told him, "Listen, you're not important enough for anyone in this establishment to give an SH enough to talk about you. You walked in here like the world owed you something and are clearly looking for a fight." I said, "Do you want the wings or not?" That's when he pointed in the back to our manager on duty and said he wants to talk to him. The guy he was pointing to is actually our busser, who was last minute put on manager duty because the owners had a family emergency and could not be there. He is actually one of the owner's father-in-law. I said, "Okay, I can go get him for you, but he doesn't speak English." That's when it went to hell. This man proceeds to yell at me, "I speak Spanish, you dumb B, you stupid H, you dirty N." Let me just preface this by telling y'all I am not black. This man literally didn't know me from a stranger on the street, yet proceeds to call me the N-word amongst other things. He said that I was racist because I wouldn't give him 9 wings because he was black. He told me that I was a stupid N, and that I needed to go back to Mexico. That he was gonna get me deported. Keep in mind, I am not Hispanic either. So this is where I let my true colors shine. I bite my tongue for long enough through his shenanigans, but number 1, speaking to a woman this way is never okay. Number 2, you're gonna call me names and come for me? No, buddy, I effing got you. I went off on his A. I told him he was an ignorant MF, calling me the N-word and a Mexican all in the same breath, when he doesn't even know who the hell I am. To which he responded, "S my D, you dumb B. I come here all the time and know everyone here." And I said, "Yes, I know you come here all the time, and I'm doing everyone a favor by telling you to get the F out of here and don't come back, because you're a pompous entitled B who thinks you can say and do whatever you want." Then he goes, "I got money." I said, "I'm sure you do, considering you don't effing tip and give hell to whoever serves you. That money would add up eventually." He then proceeded to tell me I needed to go back to Mexico again, and I told him a vacation sounds absolutely amazing, and maybe I will go to Mexico. At this point, my manager busboy, who couldn't even understand what was being said, heard the screaming and could pick up the whole S my D and all the other nonsense on top of the fact I was visibly upset, and literally pushed the a-hole out of the restaurant and told him to go. I swear to y'all, I feel if there wasn't a bar between me and this man during the altercation, he would have swung on me. That's how vile and heated it was. He was hyped. It was absolutely disgusting, and never in my life have I ever been spoken to like that, let alone by a man. So the next day I sat down with the owners and the busser and explained everything that happened. Every detail, even me fighting back and calling him on his SH, and they backed me up 100% and said he was not allowed in the restaurant anymore, and if he were to show up, he would be escorted out. I just truly can't believe people like this exist. You're so effing miserable in your life and barely have the funds to pay your tab. Stay the F home and keep your toxic entitled woe is me at home for F's sake. Don't bring that negative energy around me. The second story is, entitled dad tries to bully me at the comic shop. Coworker is not having it. Allow me to set the scene. This all happened when I was 17 to 18, when I was working at a comics and collectibles store in my small town. We were a very tight-knit store family, and about 80% of the customers we would see in a day were our regulars. On the day in question, my coworker, we'll get to him later, was taking his well-deserved lunch in the back room, away from the main store. Although I was pretty new at the time, I was fine handling the store by myself for an hour or so, and it was a slow day a few weeks after Christmas. Enter the entitled dad, with his unfortunate 5 to 6-year-old son in tow. ED is extremely well-dressed, visibly wealthy, and barely even glances at me as he walks up to the register. I don't recognize him, which means he's not a regular. As he comes in, he's holding the box for a mid-range Transformers Some Assembly Required figurine. The box is open at one end, and the frames that hold the punch-out pieces are sticking out of the top, along with some of the plastic packaging and directions. I can hear loose pieces rattling around inside. He unceremoniously drops the box on the counter. We need to exchange this for another one. Now, if you know anything about small businesses, especially ones that sell collectibles, you'll know that return and exchange policies are pretty non-existent. We just don't have the profit cushion to make up for it. However, my boss is a softie, and for regulars or in cases of broken merchandise, he sometimes makes an exception. Tentatively, I tell ED that we don't usually do returns or exchanges, but I ask if there was a problem with the toy, and I ask if he has his receipt. ED is already on the verge of snapping. My son and I couldn't put it together. Listen to me. I'm not asking you for a refund. We're just going to exchange it for another one. All the pieces are there. I shouldn't have to keep every receipt. I brought it here. You clearly sell these toys. And he immediately hauls his poor kid over to the shelves where we display our Transformers. Now, I don't believe for a second that all the pieces are in that box, especially since it looks like they stuffed it all back in without even trying to make it fit. I'm a non-confrontational type of person, and my anxiety was already bad enough at this point, so I realize I'm not equipped to handle this ED. So I go to get my coworker, who we'll call D. D's the kind of person that you picture when you think of don't frick with me energy. He used to be a tattoo artist. He's covered in ink and piercings, always wears band tees, has a dark beard, tall and fit, etc. He carries a stainless steel cane for some leg issues, but in his hands that cane looks like a weapon. However, he's always extremely kind and professional, up until the exact second you peeve him off. Even I'm a little afraid of D, to be honest. I peek into the back room, already feeling terrible for interrupting D's lunch, and tell him I need his help with a customer who's demanding to return a toy. He heads back out into the main store area with me, and I see his expression go sour the moment he spots the busted open box sitting on our counter. D turns to ED and asks, "So you're wanting to return this toy, is that right?" ED absolutely flips his SH. "No, I'm exchanging it for another toy because I bought it here, and my son can't put his Christmas present together." He rounds on me. "What did you tell him? I told you it was an exchange." D cuts him off, steadily approaching rage mode. "Sir, I can't put this back on the shelf. It's open, the box is bent, and we don't sell used merchandise. We don't offer returns or exchanges. It said so on your receipt when you bought it." ED is shouting even louder now. "This is ridiculous. I bought it here. Just put it back in the box then. All the pieces are there. If I can't even figure it out, it's probably defective." D is not having it. "You expect me to accept this on your word that all the pieces are there, then sell it to another customer with half the pieces broken out already? This toy is for ages 12 and up, and if you can't figure out how to put it together, that's not my problem. If you want a new toy, you're gonna have to pay for it. Otherwise, you need to leave." I'm practically blacked out from fear of confrontation at this point. I don't remember the particulars of the rest of their shouting match, but I do remember making eye contact with ED's poor kid, who looked absolutely humiliated by his dad's behavior. In the end, D makes it incredibly clear that he's not going to accept ED's busted up toy, and that ED needs to leave or we will call the police. Fuming, ED snatches the box back and drags his kid away, all the while threatening us with the Better Business Bureau, bad online reviews, I'm never shopping here again, etc, etc, etc. Still fuming himself, D looks over and asks me if I'm alright. I nod. If that a-hole comes back here, you come get me, okay? I nod again and D disappears into the back room to finish his lunch. And no, ED did not come back. The third story is, I just quit my job of 3 years over a sandwich. And I don't regret it. Story. I, 27 female, have worked for a consumer goods company in the UK as a writer for almost 3 years. I don't hate the work that I do, but I've been slowly disengaging since management mandated all staff return to the office full-time after COVID, with zero flexibility to work from home despite proving we're just as efficient. The management styles in this place are diabolical. The sick pay policy is quite frankly cruel, and office culture is, well, not something I'm interested in. Management also decided they would not source cover for my colleague's 12-month maternity stint, so my team of 3 has been doing the work of 4 people the last few months. But what was the straw that broke my back? Half a BLT sandwich. For context, employees are allowed to snack at our desks, but meals are forbidden. Just days earlier, my manager bought in cakes, crisps, and ice cream for us all to enjoy. And for a colleague's birthday last week, we ate sausage rolls, pork pies, and cupcakes. But back to the story. I'm overworked, underpaid, stressed, and hungry while sat at my desk typing away. I reach into my bag to retrieve half a BLT sandwich, thinking this will get me through until lunchtime and I'll finally complete the mammoth task I've been working on. I take a bite when suddenly my manager meets my eye, as she happens to walk by. "What's that?" she asks with a horrified expression. "A sandwich," I say. "Oh, no. You know the rules." I'm stressed and hungry and I can't wait until lunch break. At this point, she demands I get up from my desk and starts lording over me like I'm a child in detention. She's acting like the arbitrary difference between a sausage roll and half a BLT is the be-all and end-all of office life, and her despotic rules. So I quit. I told her I don't want to work for her anymore because it's making me miserable. I said I would work my notice period, but that then I'm gone. And I'm so proud of myself. I truly believe I'll find another better job easily. The fourth story is, I was shunned only for karma to hit my employers. A little backstory. My grandma passed away in December, and I asked for time off to go see her. Only 4 days, and 2 of those days were my days off. My best friend said he would cover for me, so in retrospect, everything would be fine. I put in my paperwork and my boss told me that the GM straight up told him no, and that it was out of his hands, and that I was expected to be at work. I would work extra hours covering everyone else. When we had massive outbreaks of people quit, I went a good 2 to 3 weeks doing 12 to 16 and even 24-hour shifts. I left regardless to see my grandmother, and while I was there, I realized that I pour myself into this job and I get nothing in return. I came back and put in my 2 weeks notice, and it came out that a group chat was started without me, berating me and humiliating me between my boss and GM, talking bad about me and my work ethic and how incompetent I was, so I quit on the spot. A few months later, I found out they lost their contracts and both got fired, but I just got rehired with the new company at a better rate and better benefits. Hit the like button to support the channel and subscribe. Have a good day.